memberikan satu komentar tentang apa yang sedang terjadi di dunia ini. Pertanyaan saya adalah, jika semua terotomasi, jika robot mengambil pekerjaan-pekerjaan seperti yang saya sampaikan di depan tadi, bagaimana nasib pekerjaan-pekerjaan yang seharusnya kita dapatkan di masa-masa yang akan datang? Saya akan bertanya pada salah satu orang. Ya, silakan berdiri, Mbak. Ya, perkenalkan namanya dan silakan dijawab pertanyaannya. Nah, ini kayak di ruang kelas ya, jadi horor ya. Silakan.
Nama saya bisa Panelists. Pertanyaannya tadi yang terjadi dengan pekerjaan yang masih kita dapatkan. Beberapa jenis pekerjaan pasti akan di-replace dengan ya robot atau sistem otomatis. Untuk penyelesaiannya saya pikir berarti manusianya harus di-leverage, harus ditingkatkan. Jadi kita ya above the robot.
Tepuk tangan untuk teman Anda. Ada satu buku yang sangat menarik, judulnya When Machines Do Everything. Di situ dijelaskan bagaimana walaupun mesin akan mereplace banyak pekerjaan, tetapi kalau sumber daya manusia, sangat sepakat yang disampaikan tadi, dilakukan improvement di dalamnya, maka dia akan bisa bersaing. Saya akan ke pembicara yang pertama kita, Bapak Leonard. So, Pak Leonard, people are talking about the fourth industrial revolution.
Or lifts going up in a building, any of the things that allow us to sit here today, I would argue, are the result of some technology. And so the fourth industrial revolution will create new challenges, and there will be job changes and job elimination, but there will be job creation. The only challenge is the timing gap, because normally when technology comes in, it has a negative effect in some types of job and creates others. The question is, what is that time gap between job elimination and job creation? If we take a look at manufacturing, there was many jobs eliminated with automation, but many new and different jobs created. Our current speed is much faster, and so I think the social challenge is an area that we need to be very open and honest. Is going to be a change, but I think it's something we should also embrace.
Actually, McKinsey Global Institute actually released last year a report, a very interesting report on the job gain and job loss. Could you please explain to us what kind of job creation in the future, especially in Indonesia?
Well, sure. I mean, Indonesia's great strength. I live in Singapore. I work for Singapore government. My team and I help build deep tech startups. So we spend all of our time working with people on artificial intelligence, robotics, future of healthcare, future of energy. So this is all that we do for Singapore government every day. But importantly, we've seen such an exciting change in Indonesia. I've lived in Singapore since 1997. So in that while, I've seen tremendous excitement and energy. Now many of my venture capital friends are investing in Indonesia. I have many entrepreneurs that are working in Indonesia together with partnerships in ASEAN. So I think the great future for Indonesia is simply people in this room, which is the human potential or the human capital. Because I think it's nothing about technology, it's all about people. People build technology, people adopt technology. And so I think the great strength for Indonesia should not be discussed in terms of this type of job or that type of role, but more in terms of the mindset, the excitement, the energy, the potential, which I think is quite strong. My simple experience over these 20 years, I think is quite exciting for Indonesia. I would prefer to discuss the potential, not please go into this role and not that role. I think that would be too limiting.
Oke, kita berikan tepuk tangan untuk pembicara yang pertama kita, yang memberikan gambaran umum tentang apa yang sedang terjadi saat ini. Saya ingin ke pembicara yang kedua kita, Pak Markoss. You're going to talk about digital workforce, Pak. Could you please explain to us what do you mean with digital workforce?
Sure. Steve just mentioned about actually robotics, right? Automation, artificial intelligence. The digital workforce is exactly that. It would put us in place. We call them actually different words. We call them actually digital workforce because normally these kind of things, they actually have a personal ID, they have sometimes a character and a personality. So what we do is actually we're implementing or we're developing, implementing, deploying digital workforce or robots actually in companies or in governments.
Okay, what are the opportunities and challenges, especially for the people of the Republic of Indonesia in the future, in relation to this issue, digital workforce?
Right. So when you look about this, right, what we're doing actually from a company perspective, we're going actually and advise companies how to do that. Now, what it really means, Steve already actually has mentioned that, is you need actually people to develop a digital workforce, but more importantly, you need people actually to manage the digital workforce. We're doing right now stuff like, there could be very simple stuff, right? Like a simple operations clerk up to lawyers, right? And they can actually make decisions. So we're talking right now to companies about how do they set that up, right? So people here in Indonesia, because it's also a BPO country, right? You have a lot of actual call centers, contact centers, you are one of, yeah? And BPO activities with IT outsourcing companies and all that stuff. That's the biggest, I think that's one of the biggest opportunities. People can actually start to really focusing on these kind of things. I implemented around 2,500 to 3,000 bots across the globe. And the interesting part is, what I see is the roles you're creating, and Steve mentions it with a pace, is actually very accelerating. We're creating, we might actually say, out of 10 people, the role's going to disappear. We're going to actually put 5 new jobs in there, just with the technology, in the first instance, immediately. Then actually the next week comes in. So what we're doing is, for the people actually here in Indonesia, is really about, say, focusing on these kind of areas, because this will be a trend. And then actually
Impact on the society, on the business.
The impact is actually quite interesting. I would like to say the first one, that people, and this is actually something which I have a personal opinion, the press always makes things bad. Oh my God, artificial intelligence and robots are going to steal my job. I don't believe so at all. As I said, personal experience shows actually it's actually different. The World Development Report 2019, actually with technology, that we're going to lose jobs for automations. If you think about the UK report done through Deloitte, actually, they lost 700,000. So the society actually has a fear factor, but I think it's not justified. The second thing is, I believe that, especially when you go a little bit deeper into the conversational AI, which is, you started to use avatars and chatbots, right? And you have the Google Homes and all that stuff, which is great, but you can go to the next steps. So we did some work with a couple of companies where we're using avatars that look to 98% human. They can have personal conversations and sentiment analysis. They can show empathy, right? And you can actually, right now, in kiosks, you can go there and they're going to look at you, they remember you, they're going to say hello, they have all these kind of things. So think about these kind of things for elderly people who are alone, or for people with disabilities who can't really work, they can only use voice. Suddenly they have a face and a voice, you can't actually do this kind of stuff. So I believe, from a society point of view, it has a lot of benefits.
Oke, kita berikan tepuk tangan untuk pembicara yang kedua kita. Lebih jelas pemahaman kita setelah memahami apa itu revolusi industri 4.0 dan kemudian apa manfaat, apa peluang, apa tantangan yang ada di dalam perkembangan yang luar biasa ini. Saya akan lanjut dulu ke pembicara selanjutnya yang pastinya juga sangat expert di bidangnya. Saya undang Prof. Kartidjo untuk memberikan pemahaman sebetulnya secara teknis, Pak, seperti apa sih, Pak, perkembangan era digital ini, terutama tentang artificial intelligence, big data, robotics ini di Indonesia sudah dan akan dikembangkan. Silakan Pak Kartidjo.
allow me to speak in bahasa because the audience. Oke, mungkin saya bahasa Indonesia aja ya, gampang ya. Satu, bahwa kita itu hidup ya dari awal itu selalu berubah dari zaman ke zaman, mulai dari memburu sampai di depan komputer. Tapi yang penting bahwa kita menggunakan produk yang kita buat sendiri. Produk yang kita pakai itulah yang merubah hidup kita. Mulai dari zaman batu, ya, kita lihat pada zaman batu di situ. Kemudian kita lihat juga pada yang baru itu adalah baru kira-kira mungkin tahun 70-an itu mikroelektronika yang merubah kita. Mikroelektronika itu yang sebetulnya membuat banyak sekali hal-hal yang kita bicarakan hari ini, mulai dari artificial intelligence, robotic, automation, dan big data. Bidang saya adalah robotic dan automation, tapi hari ini saya akan bicara sedikit mengenai big data karena itu ada banyak hubungannya dengan apa yang menjadi topik hari ini. Berikutnya, ya kita lihat di situ teknologi mikroelektronika yang membuat tadi, ya, yang membuat kita bicara mengenai artificial intelligence dan sebagainya. Kita lihat pada teknologi yang menyebabkan tadi. Sebetulnya adalah perkembangan mikroprosesor yang demikian cepat, memori yang demikian besar, kemudian integrasi dari semua sirkuit itu menjadi satu chip dalam bentuk sistem dan chip, dan juga berbagai bentuk sensor yang dalam dibuat dengan sangat kecil yang disebut dengan microelectromechanical system. Ini yang kemudian membuat sistem yang menjadikan revolusi industri 4.0. Kita bicara cuma sebagian kecil karena sebagian besar itu tidak bisa kita cover hari ini. Kita lihat di sini contohnya, sorry ya, kembali ya. Pertama adalah mengenai big data analisis. Anda masih ingat Cambridge Analytica yang membuat analisa mengenai fish dan data Facebook. Kita nggak bicara mengenai data Facebook, kita bicara data yang lebih besar lagi, sehingga kita mungkin ya melihat bahwa social sentiment analysis tadi itu bisa dikembangkan dengan suatu advanced data analytics menjadi contribution analysis. Bagaimana caranya? Saya ambil satu kondisi yang mirip dengan yang saya ajarkan mengenai robot. Ada robot yang smart robot yang tahu mengenai environment, tapi ada juga intelligent autonomous robot. Di sini arti kita bisa lihat bentuknya itu adalah seperti ini kira-kira. Ini terlalu sulit tapi tidak apa. Bahwa ada suatu model learning di mana model yang dilakukan itu bisa dirubah dari perubahan. Kalau kita lihat lebih jauh, kita mendapatkan misalnya saja social sentiment analysis kita buat menjadi suatu hasil dalam bentuk bagaimana kita mendeteksi mengenai social sentiment. Dalam bentuk yang lebih jauh dalam prediksi saya, country policy analysis dengan menggunakan yang sama di sini, kita akan bisa mendapatkan data mengenai country. Mungkin ini tidak gampang, kelihatannya gampang. Prosesor ada, memori ada, software yang ada di sini. Kita lihat di sini contohnya bagaimana software nggak bisa kelihatannya. Oke. Jadi misalnya saja kita sudah bicara mengenai social sentiment analysis. Sekarang software yang paling penting adalah bagaimana mengembangkan fraud dan hoax analysis. Di ITB dikembangkan hoax analysis, tapi belum sempurna menggunakan algoritma yang sama. Berikutnya bisa juga mana bisa mencetnya. Berikutnya ya, oke. Saya bisa balik lagi. Oke. Demikian juga kita bisa kembangkan software untuk country policy analysis. Mungkin kita akan buat lebih jauh ya. Next. Ini adalah struktur daripada komputer, di mana hardware, ada sistem, software, dan juga aplikasi software. Aplikasi software sekarang sangat besar, ada 4 mengenai bisnis, mengenai grafik multimedia, camp dan sebagainya. Kemudian juga akhirnya juga kita bicara mengenai communication. Nah, berikutnya. Oke, kalau kita lihat pada mengembangkan kata-kata tadi, kita bicara mengenai policy, country policies analytic, maka kita tidak bisa menggunakan bahasa yang sederhana, tidak bisa menggunakan C, tidak bisa menggunakan fortran, tapi menggunakan satu aplikasi software yang khusus untuk big data analysis. Yang paling terkenal itu adalah Hadoop. Ya. Kita lihat di sini bahwa itulah yang data yang kita pakai untuk mengembangkan analitik tadi. Oke, berikutnya terakhir. Jadi ini yang kemarin ditanyakan, issues to be addressed ya. Dan saya rasa next ya. Di sini kalau kita lihat ERP, Entrepreneur Resource Planning, kita bisa buatkan langsung menjadi Government Resource Planning dengan Advanced Data Analytics. Jadi kalau kita lihat banyak sekali, dan terakhir kita lihat bahwa sebetulnya evolusi kita ya seperti natural dan kita harus mengamati. Terima kasih.
Oke, kita berikan tepuk tangan untuk pembicara kita yang ketiga. Semakin spesifik lagi isunya ke sesuatu yang lebih teknis. Bagaimana big data itu bisa bekerja, bagaimana juga dampaknya terhadap pengambilan kebijakan, dan sekarang kita akan lebih spesifik lagi bagaimana kebijakan luar negeri Indonesia ataupun kebijakan secara umum itu bisa terpengaruh dengan perkembangan-perkembangan yang ada ini. Saya berikan waktu untuk Pak Ono menjelaskan tentang poin terakhir kita. Kami persilakan, Pak.
Ya, selamat siang Ibu dan Bapak. Nama saya Odo Manuhutu, asli Indonesia, Ambon. Saya sudah bekerja di Kementerian Luar Negeri lebih dari 23 tahun. Dan sekarang saya kerja untuk Pak Luhut di Kemenko Maritim. So thank you for the opportunity. Tadi the three other speakers were talking a lot of technicalities, and the main issue is about how foreign policy can use artificial intelligence, big data, all this new technology. But my main topic is I want to start. This is a false promise. When we talk about artificial intelligence, we talk about robotics in the area on the foreign policy. The issue is we should not. Saya yakin teman-teman sebagian ada dari internasional or dealing with social science issues. I think we miss the point of talking too much on technology. I think we have to focus more on the big picture. The big picture is right. So we are living nowadays, what Kartidjo said, we are living in a two-world situation, which means there's a competition between China and the United States. That's the basic facts. And we, Indonesia, we are right in the middle of it. So how do we use artificial intelligence, all this new technology for our foreign policy? That's the big question, right? You come here, I think, because the issue on foreign policy and how we want to deal with it. Foreign policy is basically about how Indonesia can survive for the next 600 years. Why I say 600 years? If you look at the Indonesia's history, Sriwijaya, it started from the 600 until 1200 years ago. So what you have to learn is that you have to learn that how can we survive for the next 600 years, and we are still a young nation. So the competition between these two countries affect us in our region. This is how it is, right? So this is, I take it from the New York Times. So this is what New York Times said, that there is a competition. China trying to push us, the US trying to push us. But the real issue is how Indonesia, and this is the, I just took it this morning from the Foreign Affairs. It says that the last few decades have witnessed the growth of an American-sponsored internet open to all, but that was the condition to change. Sekarang, this day we are facing with a situation that two types of internet governance. One is pushed by European, American, which is about being open wall society, open wall platform, and you have the Chinese, the closed wall platform. You have Tencent, all these Chinese policies. Sorry. The issue is it's not Chinese, it's not American. The issue is what do we want to achieve? What we want to achieve is our society to be prosperous, just prosperous. So that's when we talk about Indonesia's foreign policy. It's not about China, it's not about the US. How we can prosper and how we can use the technology. Now I want to show you this picture. You know what's this picture? It's the Gutenberg printing. Gutenberg printing, pertama kali. You know it was used for what? The first big machine for hops. This is the first hops machine in the world. Why? Because at that time it was used, the European, the Westerner, they like to say, oh, the Gutenberg is for to print beautiful Bible. No, it's not. The first time it was used, you know for what? Is to give promise that you can go to heaven if you buy promissory notes. So this is the first hops in the world. made by the European. So I'm not against Westerners, but what I'm saying is technology can be used for other purposes. So the issue is how we can use it for our own benefit. Now, do you know what is this? This is just like last week. So this is Google at an experiment DeepMind. So two artificial intelligence are competing for game. So they found out that the artificial intelligence become very aggressive when there's scarcity. But when there is a lot of resources, they start to cooperate. What does it mean? That it means that we cannot really rely on the artificial intelligence. We have to rely on our own intuition as human beings. And I think this is, I like to show this person. Anyone knows about this person? So this is a Soviet Union governor in the 80s. His name is Stanislav Petrov. Around in the 80s, he was the head of the radar system of Soviet Union. And at that time, he saw it in the radar. There was the radar saw that there will be 5 missiles attacking Russia. So he has only 7 minutes to tell Kremlin that we have to retaliate. That the Russian have to retaliate. If he did that at that time, there will be nuclear war. But he decided not to do so. Because of what? Because of his intuition as a human being. And he said like this: we are wiser than the computers, and we create them. So I say that why? Because he said like, if the Russian I know 1 more minute. He said that the American, when they attack, they would attack massively. And this is only 5 missiles. Probably there's a glitch in the computers. And because he believed in his own intuition as a human being, then he averted a nuclear war. And in foreign policy, in the age of big data and artificial intelligence, we have to rely more and more on our social skill, on our ability to empathize, on our ability to use your wisdom. I know I use a lot of technology, but I always believe that in the age of big data, artificial intelligence, the most important thing is you have to invest in your social skill, how you relate one another. And in diplomacy, the most important thing is when you start to you communicate, you build rapport with your colleagues. And the most important skill as a diplomat, the key success of a diplomat or foreign policy, if you can solve your issue with a phone call or with a chat, that shows how good you are in diplomacy. And in foreign policy, I think we need more and more people with wisdom and with determination to solve problems, local, regional, and international problems. Thank you. I hope I tried to explain.
Terima kasih Pak Leonard. Ya. Hey, sekali lagi tepuk tangan untuk keempat pembicara kita pada hari ini. Saya hanya diberi kesempatan untuk memberikan 1 pertanyaan saja, dan itu saya berikan kepada Anda untuk menanyakan pertanyaan kepada salah satu speaker. Silakan, 1 pertanyaan yang paling cepat saya lihat adalah Mbak yang di sini ya. Oke, silakan.
Yes, my question would be for all the speakers today. Thank you for the explanations. My name is Elsa. We've talked about the potential of digital platforms, about the technology in Indonesia and for its foreign policy. But with that potentials comes the threats, comes the context of cyber crimes and other crimes that can be delivered by this technology. And my question would be, all of those threats, how do Indonesian should address such cybersecurity, for example, how Indonesia have done perhaps, and how Indonesia should deliver such context of cyber crimes, perhaps opinions or advice for that. Thank you.
I try to actually answer that question. I think it's not just Indonesia actually that's facing these issues. Cybercrime is actually across the world. You know, when you look at the map with cybersecurity and cybercrime, you see actually a couple of very red spots around the world. It's really around the world. So from my point of view, my advice is cybersecurity at the moment is quite important. If you think about actually how do they tackle right now the systems, right, in corporations or governments or in your personal advice, we need actually in this regards put countermeasures against that, which is another kind of technology. Sorry, I have to laugh because we always get to sign up 3 minutes, 1 minute time is up. So from my point of view, it's actually a technology. I believe if you think about Israel actually has a very unique selling point. They're doing actually one of the best cybersecurity softwares in the world. I think if Indonesia could actually follow this kind of path, there's a lot of potential. And I think one of the biggest potentials actually at the moment in artificial intelligence, the cybersecurity space, where business can grow extremely well, right?
Let me answer it a slightly different way. First of all, since I don't know if I'll have the chance to get the microphone again, can I say one thing? Which is, I think it's amazing to see so many young women in the audience. So I hope that this is another example of great leadership and human potential for Indonesia. Because in many, many other countries in which I have the chance to speak, I don't see such a great representation. So I'd like to say the point on cyber is, I will not talk about what Indonesia could or couldn't do, but what I would say is please do not let concerns about cyber, which are valid, but please do not let those concerns slow or prevent the exploration and development and experimentation, because human health care, transportation, energy effectiveness, public safety, these are very critical human needs. And I want to make sure that I express the opinion that although I deeply value and think about security all of the time when we work with foundations and startups, there's always the natural reaction that says, what if it goes wrong? And that's one of the main reasons why Singapore continues to spend time thinking about autonomous vehicles and so on, instead of experimenting more actively. Some countries are experimenting more actively. So I think this cyber piece should also be thought of in be aware, but please don't let that prevent you from experimenting and doing something important.
Okay, I think I have still a couple of seconds. So, cybercrime is the same like a crime. It's only the game between thief and police. Which one is cleverer is better. So I think if you want to become a good country, so you have to become a good police, you have to take care about the technology where they're playing with. If they're playing with the normal criminal, you have to do it with criminal. But once you want to do something with cybercrime, you must be also mastering the cyber itself. I think Indonesia has a lot of talent on that software. I think 2 days ago in Bandung, there is a kind of competition. It was by young student, and they are trying to develop a lot of kind of software. One of them is about some hoax.
Probably I will answer differently. I like to answer differently. Is that first you have to understand threats now and 30 years, 30 years, 500 years now will be different. The threats that will be 10, 20 years back then will be different. Threats will be always there. I think the best defense for Indonesia is one thing. First we talk about Singapore, Israel. Well, how many millions are there? 5 million each, right? Singapore 5 million, Israel 5 million. So I would suggest is that every single Indonesian, young Indonesian, learn coding, learn programming. 10 years ago, we have to speak English, we have to learn. These days, I don't have time to learn coding. I will do it if I'm still in my early 20s. So the best defense is for cyber threats is young Indonesian invest their time, government invest their time, so that Indonesian can learn coding. Like the Chinese did, we have to do the same thing. That's the best defense.
I'd like to conclude this session by referring to an author, Rose. He wrote a book entitled The Industries of the Future. He said, many people will gain. Some will gain hugely, but many will also be displaced. Apa yang kita pelajari dari sesi kita hari ini terekam penuh di dalam buku Rose, di mana ada banyak sekali orang yang akan diuntungkan lewat transformasi itu. Bahkan beberapa di antaranya akan diuntungkan luar biasa. William Tanuwijaya, Iqbal Zaki, dan sederet anak muda lainnya yang berhasil meraih keuntungan dari transformasi digital ini adalah contohnya. Tetapi kalimat terakhir Alex Rose harus menjadi catatan kita di ruangan ini. But many will also be displaced. Jangan sampai kita menjadi kelompok orang-orang yang terpinggirkan dari transformasi ini. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.